Week 0 was a treat. We were treated in week 0 to some excellent college football. Last night, the first games of week 1 were also some amazing games. We got a full slate loaded with great college football, and I'm here to cover it all. Welcome back to College Football Fridays with me, Cole Thompson, as your host. I'm not going to waste any time, so we have a lot to talk about. We have 26 minutes to fit it in. Let's start off. We're going to talk about Notre Dame Navy. That Notre Dame-Navy game was the first game of the college football season. Notre Dame absolutely manhandled Navy in week 0. And it was very interesting. Obviously, they won 42-3. I was expecting, a little bit more of a unique offense. There was multiple reports coming out saying that Navy was going to run a little bit more of a unique offense compared to just a triple option and running the ball under new head coach Brian Newberry. But we didn't see that. We didn't see that out of Navy. I believe they only threw the ball. They threw the ball 6 times, and by the middle of the fourth quarter, they had only thrown the ball once, and it was incompletion. So they only threw the ball 6 times, 3 for 6 for 42 yards. They get down early, and we see this with Navy all the time. They get down early, and they can't fight back because all they do is run the ball. They run that triple option into the ground. So it's a very interesting spot for them, and to go into those situations, struggling, obviously, down already. What are you going to do in those spots? And I was expecting more of an air raid. We didn't see it. A little bit of a field goal at the end just to not get skunked in that game. But yeah, Notre Dame's defense was phenomenal. Sam Hartman, absolutely phenomenal for the Irish. He went 19 of 23 for 250 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Estem, the running back for the Irish as well, absolute beast day. Notre Dame looked incredible, a completely different team than what they looked like last year. And I talked about this a little bit when I previewed the season about how I expect Notre Dame to take massive leaps this year with Sam Hartman and the second year under Marcus Freeman, and they put it on full display last week in Dublin. Their next matchup, they will play tomorrow against Tennessee State. I expect a lot of the same. And then they got some, let's see, when they have their first real test, NC State in week 2 next week on the road. Obviously, that's not going to jump out as a game that, we're going to sit here and say, oh, they're in trouble. They're going to get upset. Definitely. It's early, but it's on the road. They could still be in some trouble. But if they play like they did last week, this could be a college football playoff team. This absolutely can be. Sam Hartman was lights out. Estem was lights out. The defense was lights out. Notre Dame was completely lights out in all aspects of the game last week against Navy. Defensively, they really held strong against that run game. I mean, Navy ran the ball like we said, they ran the ball basically every single play. And Notre Dame really held them. I mean, they only had 126 rushing yards, only 169 yards of total offense. Phenomenal performance by the Irish and Notre Dame in week 0. They start off the season 1-0, look to go to 2-0 this week against Tennessee State. Let's talk about last night a little bit. That was the only real big game I wanted to touch on in week 0. Let's talk about last night, Thursday. We had a lot of interesting matchups. Utah versus Florida. First off, what a way for Florida or Utah to start the game. Bryson Barnes first played the game for offensive play of the game for the Utes. 70-yard bomb, and the Utes strike first in that one. That was to Monty Parks. That was actually his only catch of the game. And Utah's defense really was great in this matchup. Really was great. They had a little bit of a bend don't break mentality, but when they got down into scoring range, they really did a great job of holding Florida. They forced multiple turnovers in this matchup. Graham Mertz, he looked like Wisconsin Graham Mertz. It was the Graham Mertz that we've seen in big game time after time. He did throw for 333 yards and a touchdown. Only thing that really kind of scared me a little bit with Utah is their offense kind of was lacking in the second half of it. I don't know if they were just snoozing because obviously they were in a great position or what it was, but in the second half, they really struggled to move the ball. I believe they only had 80-something. Like, they really struggled to move the ball on offense in that second half. I mean, they had 270 total yards. They got outgained in that game by Florida by over 70 yards. So you're getting outgained by 70 yards, but the defense, I mean, wow, phenomenal. Forcing turnovers, forcing long field goals, great on third down. Overall, a phenomenal performance by the Utah offense. Their running game, that's really where they won the battle, was in the running game. I mean, they've held Florida at only 13 yards of offense. I know Florida, I believe, didn't really run the ball a lot yet. I mean, Trevor Etienne only had 7 carries, but, overall, just holding them at 37 rushing yards, just a great performance by the Utes on both sides of the ball. Nate Johnson really showed up in the run game for them late in that first half. There was a moment in that first half where Utah, it looked like they were struggling. They just given up a field goal. Florida was driving. Florida missed the field goal. Nate Johnson breaks a big run, and the Utes strike back and grabbed an 11-point lead in that game. And overall, I was very impressed with the way they played without Cam Rising, especially offensively, especially in that first half. They're more than likely to get Cam Rising back in the coming weeks. I believe they have a little bit of a much easier matchup heading into week 2. But they had Florida. They played Baylor. So it's going to be a tough matchup on the road this time. What's going to happen with Cam Rising? Is he going to play? I mean, they go through the gauntlet. And they get UCLA and Oregon State. So what's going to happen with Cam Rising? I think they're going to need him out there for very, very soon. Baylor can give him some trouble, man. Baylor can absolutely give them some trouble because on the road. It's a tough environment. And then you go without your starting quarterback. Now there's some more film on Bryson Barnes and Nate Johnson. Obviously, only one combined start between them, so we really didn't know what to expect from them. And they showed up, but now they got a game worth of film on them. What is Baylor going to be able to do to match that? Or is Cam Rising going to play? I mean, he was very, very close to what we heard this week. He was very, very close. Obviously, he didn't, but he was very, very close to playing in this game. Didn't end up playing, and obviously they ended up taking care of business without him. Heading over to the next week 0 game, we go to Nebraska. Our week 1 game, we go to Nebraska last night. They took on Minnesota. They lost 13-10, and oh my gosh, I just felt for Nebraska in that game. I mean, they had every chance to win that game, and they just couldn't get the job done. No points in the first half. That can't happen. Although they probably did score that touchdown on the goal line. But you can't, you just got to punch it in. You can't the very next play throw a boneheaded interception like Jeff Sims did. Jeff Sims, honestly, I don't think was like he didn't play great, obviously. Only 11, 19, 114 yards. Really shot him was the interception. I mean, really just bad interceptions, especially that one in the end zone. Just a bad to throw. And then you throw 2 late quarter interceptions that ultimately cost Nebraska the game. I mean, they were driving the ball down the field. And a great chance to score some points and seal this game. They moved the ball pretty well in that game. That game was pretty strong for them. They had a very, very good rushing attack, 181 yards on rushing yards. And that is between Jeff Sims with 91 yards and Gabe Irvin at 55. So they moved the ball down the field, ran the ball very well. The defense played amazing in that game. Minnesota scored 3 points, basically the final 4 minutes, and both the touchdowns on short fields. So for both the points were on short fields. So defensively, Nebraska's got to good. I like what I saw from that rule. I like the second half adjustments, bringing out that player, execute perfection. They just got to get down there, 2 red zone opportunities here at 7 on the board, and you come away with 3 total. That just cannot happen. Not throwing interceptions on the goal line. Obviously, a little more discipline on the offensive line as well. I saw a couple starts, especially like that one. At the end of that first half, that really was the game changer. That really killed them. I think Nebraska, even if they get a goal there, they win this football game. Obviously, they didn't, but so nonetheless, Nebraska team, Nebraska program, great thing to see out of Matt. Great way, kind of a great start for there. Obviously, got work out in the NFL. He said, college success. Rebuilt the Temple program and made them a very good 5 team. We saw what he did at Baylor Bears. He was able to make a very strong team there and make a couple pushes to the college playoff. Compete for Big 12 titles. Obviously, that didn't work out. Now he's here in Nebraska. I like what I saw going. I like the groundwork. Jeff Sims, obviously, first ever start. They're gonna have to work on some things with him. Got to take care of him more, and he's got to be better overall, especially. Oh, sorry, one on there. Fumble. He cannot be turning the ball over in that situation. So Nebraska got to take care of the ball. They got to be able to just put us out on the outline. They got to punch in those opportunities, man. They cannot let these scoring squander. But overall, I saw Nebraska forward. Minnesota. PJ, I want to talk about what he did in the game. There was they got penalty. I believe it was a false start. Should have been a second runoff. Should have. Most coaches panic, take the timeout. He saved that timeout. Ran it up the middle. Got enough yards for a kicker, and then used the timeout. Took the 10-second run. I thought that really. I was on Nebraska and I had a +7. The +7. I was on the money line, and even I was like, okay, PJ flag. You know, he's had some really good Minnesota team. Minnesota again looked amazing. They made a lot of plays on defense. They caught a lot of pressure. I know some of those kind of had to pressure. Sims. Their pass phenomenal. Run defense. A little skeptical with that. You know, I wish Jackson more get out of the pocket as easily and they tell you his legs. But like both teams. I think it'll be solid this year. I'm expecting step up Nebraska. Very interested to see what happens next Minnesota. You know, you have some things you got to work on, but overall, definitely groundwork. Definitely got to start the season starting on. And I want to know. So that's all I really want to talk about last night. Let's look at week one of college football. It is finally a full slate of games. Have something tonight. Really got to touch on. I want to talk about there's so many games on Saturday and Sunday. We have a big game. The biggest game of the week. Let's start off. We will talk about TCU versus Colorado. I'm really excited. Coach climbed to the building. What are we going to see from Climb? Guys, I don't think we're going to see much of anything. I really don't think we're going to see much of anything spectacular. Improvements defensively. I think so. Offensively, I have his son Chris Sanders. They have Travis Hunter. And I know they have lockdown corners on the end, but I think TCU will control this. I know this TCU team is not the same team that won the national championship. But they have some guys. You know, Sonny Dykes did a great job in the transfer. Fire. I'm going to put that out of the down. He's going to do great once again this year. And building a very strong nucleus for a team that can make another run. But I do think this is one of my plays. I'm going to have TCU minus 20 and a half covering the spread on this one. I think we're going to see flashes of great things from Colorado in this game and in this season. I TCU winning around 35-10, 38-10, something along those lines. I see some problems offensively for Colorado, especially finishing drives. But TCU, I'm very excited for them once again this season. I'm very excited to see how they bounce back. Was it kind of a wonder or is Sonny Dykes coming up something right there to get that transfer portal? So I'm going to take TCU minus 20 and a half. Next up, we're gonna find next game I want to talk about. I can't find it as we speak. There's another big game. Was it? Come on, man. Penn State, West Virginia. We'll go to Penn State, West Virginia. Obviously, I'm a Penn State fan, so I'm very biased. Penn State's my national champion pick. If you didn't see it, if you don't follow me on Twitter, you need to follow or X, whatever. You need to follow me over there. I updated my college football playoff prediction. I had Alabama, Penn State, Florida State, and I believe Texas. I believe I had Texas in there. And I had Penn State with a national championship. I just listen. It may be biased. Probably is. I love what they're cooking up there. I love what we're bringing into this Penn State team with Drew Aller and company. You know, the defense is going to be great. This offensive line is going to be special. This running back team with Nick Singleton and Katron Allen is going to be amazing. And they are going to blow the doors off of West Virginia. I'm going to hit them for at least a unit. Probably going to hit them for more. I might lay a 3-unit play on them. But I'm definitely betting Penn State minus 20 and a half. I think Penn State's going to wipe the floor with them. I'm saying 35-3. Florida or West Virginia might not even find the end zone I don't think West Virginia is going to be too great this year. And obviously, I'm high on Penn State and Drew Allen, my Heisman pick, Penn State, my national champion pick. So, there's a lot of reasons why. But I mean, it's in Happy Valley. It's a night game. The place is going to be rocking. This is Penn State's game to lose. This is Penn State's season to lose. Give me Penn State minus 20.5. And now we head over to South Carolina hosting or taking on North Carolina, I believe, in Charlotte. I mean, the Battle of the Carolinas. This is going to be a high-scoring game. I'm hammering the over 64.5. These teams are going to put up 40 points each. Two great gunslinging quarterbacks. Drake May, who honestly, if it wasn't for Caleb Williams, I would be talking about being the number one pick in this year's NFL draft. And Spencer Rattler and this South Carolina team that really surged on at the end of last season. So I'm obviously going to take the over, and I love North Carolina minus 2.5. I might just take them on the money line, though. I don't love that. I like it, but I love North Carolina to win this game. Better quarterback, better team. I feel like there's going to be a lot of bias towards South Carolina because they're dogs and how well they played towards the end of last season. So I'm going to take North Carolina money line and North Carolina, South Carolina over the 64.5. North Carolina, I know they lost Josh Downs, but Mac Brown really has really done a great job in bringing in great offenses. Just I love points in this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I have North Carolina winning 45-38. Now we head over to another marquee matchup on Sunday night. Or we'll go to the Monday game. Clemson at Duke. I'm back and forth on this game. I probably won't make a pick till game time, but I'm back and forth on this game because I don't think high of Clemson this year. I don't think high of Kate Klubnik. But I think Kate Klubnik's going to show flashes in this game against a stronger Duke team. I think the team is going to win 7 to 8, maybe 9 games. But this isn't going to be one of them. But do I like the 12.5? Do I want to lay it on Clemson? It's going to be a game-time decision for me. This game can really go either way. It's just going to come down to how improved is Clemson from the last few years? How improved are they really from what we saw the last 2 seasons? Obviously, 2 years ago, complete train wreck of the season. I think they were like 7-5, absolute disaster of the season. And this past year, a 3-loss team who got murdered in a bowl game by Joe Milton in Tennessee. Now, Joe Milton, now the starter, great quarterback. Probably, honestly, he was the starter before over Hendon Hooker at one point. But, yeah, back to this game. Clemson's going to win. I think it could be very close. I'm kind of leaning Clemson minus 12.5. But I think I'm going to go with Clemson minus 12.5. That is subject to change, and that is exactly why you need to follow me over on X. Make sure you get all my plays. I have all my plays for today over there. Actually, we'll go over them a little bit here in just a moment. But I'm going to go with Clemson minus 12.5 for now. That's definitely up to change, up for some debate there. Give me the Tigers minus 12.5. I just like what they have a little bit more. I think that line, it's about the right line too, which makes me feel better. But I feel like Clemson could definitely – it's just going to come down to, in my opinion, if Duke gets a late score. I mean, I think Clemson's going to be up about 14 the whole game. Does Duke snag a late score at the end of this one? Give me Clemson to win this game, 31-17. And now let's go to the Sunday night, the game of the week, in my opinion, Florida State, LSU. We saw what happened last year in this game. That was my biggest bet I ever placed, was LSU versus Florida State. I had LSU money line. Again, that was a train wreck all the way, just for them to come all the way back and rip my hearts out by getting their extra point blocked. This year, I'm going to be on the other side. If you watch the last 2 episodes, if you follow me, you know how much I love Florida State this year, how much I love Jordan Travis, and I think this team is a national championship team, and you're going to give them to me at plus money on the opening game of the season. I'm going to hammer that. I'm going to obliterate that because I think this might be the best team in the country outside of maybe Alabama. This is the best non-SEC or Big East or Big Ten East team in the country, in my opinion. They're top 5. I think this is a team that's, in my opinion, I don't see a loss on their schedule. I think they are the best team. There's no team that they're going to play that is better than them. I said there's only 2 games I really think they can lose, and that's this one. And in a few weeks when they go and take on Clemson. And I think they get through this one fine. I think it's going to be a nail-biter, a very close game. We could see some crazy ending like we saw a year ago. But I do think that in the end of the day, at the end of this game, it is going to be Florida State that comes out on top. I think they have the better quarterback. Jaden Daniels, like I said, he's a little shaky at times. I'm not a huge Brian Kelly fan either. I like Mike Norville. I think he might be the better coach. I might give them the coaching edge as well. Definitely giving them the edge in this game. I believe it's at plus 125. I'm going to take Florida State on the money line. Just a matchup I love. A team I think is going to be great this year against a team I'm kind of low on, and a quarterback and coach I'm kind of low on. So let's review my best bets for tonight. This is Friday's best bets. Obviously, all my plays for college football will be out on Twitter/X this week. This weekend, they'll be out on Saturday before game time. But let's go over these real quick. I have about 6 minutes to talk about them. So, yeah, right now I currently sit on the season with a record of 4 wins and 5 losses. Obviously not great, but I still am up 2.44 units. Obviously, I laid a hammer on Jacksonville State last week in May and came through. And also, I came through last night on that Nebraska +7. My first play, probably my most confident play, I might throw another unit on them, is Hawaii on the island. I was so impressed with Hawaii last week against Vanderbilt and the way they played, especially defensively. They put their backs against the wall multiple times in that game and to only lose by 7. Very well could have won that game. Phenomenal performance by Hawaii and the Rainbow Warriors. So I'm going to take Hawaii on the money line at plus 130. Protect the island. I never fade Hawaii on the island. I always ride with them on the island, and I'm doing it once again here today. Next play, I have a little teaser for you. 2 dogs I think that can win outright. But with the way the lines are set up, I love a teaser. I love a teaser. Give me Miami of Ohio to cover plus 22 on via teaser. It was plus 16.5. So plus 22.5 over Miami, Florida. And give me Central Michigan plus 20 over Michigan State. I think Michigan State wins this game. I know a lot of people want to take Central Michigan, but I think Michigan State wins this game. I think they're a lot better than people want to let on, but I don't think they win this game by 3 scores. I think, I was a little skeptical to take that plus 14.5. I think they're going to win around like 27-17, maybe 30-21, something like that. I think Central Michigan does cover that 20. And I like Miami of Ohio plus 22.5. I actually tweeted out, first person to give me a play. I had a FanDuel boost I wanted to use. First person to give me a play, I'm going to ride it with them. And it was Miami of Ohio on the money line. I got it at plus 810 with the boost. So I'm cheering hard for Miami of Ohio tonight. That'll be a great little payout for me. But next up, probably my most confident play. I'm definitely going to lay another unit on this, actually. I have Louisville minus 7.5. I only have a unit on it now. I might just stay off it just because I have a good amount of action out tonight. But yeah, I'm very excited. I think Louisville's a much better team than Georgia Tech. I actually think this line, it might be a little high for some people, but I think it should be a little bit. I think it should be higher. I think they would be better off as a 9.5 point favorite. Excuse me. But yeah, I just love what Louisville's got going over there. I'm not a huge Georgia Tech guy. I don't like what they have brought in. I think they're gonna be a bottom barrel ACC team. I think Louisville can definitely make some noise. So I'm gonna go with Louisville minus 7.5 to take care of business tonight in week 1 against Georgia Tech. And my last play of the day, a team I am very excited for, a team I think that can win the Big 12. Give me Kansas minus 28.5 over Montana State. Kansas is going to roll right through them. Jalen Daniels, man, that guy is going to be special. I love what I saw from him last year, and I'm even more excited to see great things from him this year. Obviously, this is a program that kind of just, had a little revival last season. First time they've been good in about, I want to say, 17 years last year. I think they have some repeat success. We looked at their schedule a little bit before, but I think Kansas has some repeat success from a year ago. I do. I think that this team, we saw. Let's just look at their schedule. So they start out with Missouri State. Sorry, I think they win. Illinois, at home, I'm giving it to them. Nevada on the road, I'm going to give it to them. BYU, I'll give the edge to BYU in that one. Texas lost 3-2. UCF, give me the Jayhawks. Or not, UCF's offense is too good. So they're sitting at 3-3. Oklahoma State, I'll give Oklahoma State the edge. 3-5 or 3-4, 3-5 after Oklahoma. They'll beat Iowa State 4-5. Okay, maybe they're not going to be as good as I think, but, they're going to be right around that bowl game line. They're going to be right around that bowl game line from last year. I forgot how tough of a schedule the Big 12 has this year now that they added UCF and everything. They didn't get the draws against West Virginia and like that, teams of that nature. So, but yeah, they could still steal a game like that. Let's see what games I think they'll definitely lose. Games I think they'll definitely lose. Texas Tech, Kansas State, Oklahoma, Texas. 4 games I think they'll definitely lose. They can beat UCF. They can beat BYU. That's at home. I'll actually give them that BYU win. These are, I mean, I think they'll definitely win tonight. I think they'll beat Illinois, and I think they'll beat Nevada. They'll start off 3-0. We'll give them BYU 4-0. Lost to Texas 4-1. Lost to UCF 4-2. Lost to Oklahoma State 4-3. Lost Oklahoma 4-4. Iowa State, I'll let them sneak it out to move to 5-4. Texas Tech and Kansas State losses 5-6. Beat Cincinnati, clinch a bowl appearance. Maybe I'm biased because we know I love Jalen Daniels and this Kansas team, but don't sleep on the Jayhawks this year to make some noise. If they get fire, if they catch fire and they can pull off an upset or two, I think this Big 12 can eat each other alive. I think I keep saying Kansas State. I think Kansas could be a little sneaky pick to win this conference. But all in all, focused on tonight at -112 for a unit. I think Kansas takes care of business tonight against Missouri State. Make sure you follow me on X. Like I said, I will have all my plays out there for tomorrow, Sunday, although my Sunday play, although I have 2 plays on Sunday. Both are actually going to be absolute hammers if I win enough units tonight and tomorrow. If I don't want to throw all these units on if I'm having a bad weekend. But off to a good start winning units last night. Hoping to do the same here tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 3 of College Football Fridays. I'm working on trying to get a special guest on next week. If you followed my old podcast, you might know who it is. We'll see. We'll see if I can make some strings happen, see what happens, make some things work. But thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, I will see you guys next week.